Hey, everybody.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Okay, hi everybody. It's been so long. It's been so
Oh,
long. I'm
we
missing
want
you,
them to stay. We want them to
baby.
stay.
so,
She is like a
okay, I
jukebox.
don't want. I need to bake a call. Sing my songs
Right. Right.
ever. Listen, we haven't seen you guys in so long. It's just so happy to be on camera with you guys. I feel like I can reach out and give you guys virtual hugs. So, welcome to Conversations Overheard. Hey, hey.
So if you saw our live right before we went live, except for TikTok, we didn't do a little live for you
We did
guys.
not.
But we are talking tonight about the double standards in age gap relationships. And, you know,
That's a thing.
it is a huge thing. And it's been a thing, but it's like really popular right now
It is.
because of a couple of reels that have been out there and
Yeah,
interviews.
yeah. So, um, I don't know what's going on with people and their thought processes, but there are, we need to just acknowledge there are double standards in many things in life, and
There are?
it is what it is. So, but recently, some celebrities, like some men, have been dating younger women, and then Tracy Ellis Ross came on and did a great interview in which she
Right.
said that she dates younger men. And then Nia Long had done an interview a little while ago that said when she was in high school, I think she said she was 16 or 17, her boyfriend was 30, and her mother gave her blessings. So, and people were like, yeah, your mom let you be groomed. So, what are your thought processes on the age gap relationships? Is there a school of thought where too young someone is too young for you or someone is too old?
I don't know. I think the short answer to that question is going to be yes. But the double standard part about it is I feel like when men go out and get a younger girl, especially if they're in their midlife years, midlife crisis years, um, you know, you the man. You didn't pull the
Living the dream.
little hottie. You know what
Look
I
at
mean? Like
you,
where you get that little
that young
PYT?
tender.
Exactly. That untouched.
She went 50 something. I
Yeah.
don't know what y'all call it now, but
And you're the man and you all get to, dap it up. And I'm not saying you, but you're a man. But
The species.
the species, exactly. For us, if the girl is, well, not our age, but the girl that someone your age would be dating, her peers, today's peers, aren't looking at her sideways. They're not like, girl, what you doing with that old ass man? No, they're not. They're like, oh, you got your sugar daddy. He's gonna take care of your bills. He's gonna get your hair done. You might get, I don't know, you might get a car. You might get something
Flued out.
out of it.
flued out.
Flew out on some vacations. But it's okay for that dynamic. I think it's not okay sometimes for us. I think women in our age bracket will be looking at our peers like, what are you doing with someone who is my son's age? And then, you're judging.
I don't know that I agree with that. I think that men make the rules, so I mean, our behavior is, homogenized and synthesized, and it's something other than what it actually can be or is in some cases. I mean, just even in the terms that you talk about, sugar daddy versus cougar. I mean, cougar sounds aggressive. Cougar sounds like the jungles of the
It
wild,
sounds negative.
It does.
and sugar
I think it's
daddy.
meant to,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
And sugar daddy makes it seem like some nice old guys giving somebody an aid and assist.
Mm,
It is. That the verbiage for what you just said. Yeah, it's correct. I agree 100% with that. Cougar. I don't know when the term first became popular, but when I first got a hold of it, people were on my IG. Oh, she's a cougar. No, I had to shut that shit down. I'm not a cougar.
why
I
would
don't
they say that, though?
because of my age. That's all. Not because of who I'm dating or
Oh,
not
I
dating.
thought it was always associated with if you're dating someone.
Because they were thinking that, oh, she's after a young person. So
They just assume that.
people make assumptions about me all the time. You know that.
But to think that you want a younger guy is a huge assumption when you
it
don't
is.
ever say anything remotely close to
It
that.
is.
So that's my
It is, especially if you
disconnect.
don't know if I'm married, divorced, widowed. You're just assuming because I am a woman
Yeah.
of a mature woman of a certain age who is active and is healthy and keeps fit. You're assuming that I'm looking to compete with 25-year-olds and get a young man. No, I'm the auntie. I like being called the auntie. That's a term of endearment. When the young girls call me auntie, I freaking love it. However, cougar, absolutely not. I'm not receiving that because it is negative.
It sounds like you're trapping someone.
Yeah,
Like a
it is
cougar will be like
negative.
charging at you.
Predatory.
You know, predatory.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
exactly.
negative. I hate it.
Hunting. Yeah, I don't like that either. Yeah, and I'm not sure what MILF means either, but I know it has something
Moms,
to
I'd like to know intimately and not in those words.
Mom, I like to.
Oh.
Boy, if you don't just say the word,
do. I didn't
we're
realize
wrong.
that's what it meant.
Yeah,
I've often wondered.
you didn't just Google it.
No, I didn't. I would hear it on shows. I'm like, okay, so what's a MILF? It sounds disgusting though. Whatever it is. I
Yeah.
was like,
So
I want to delve into, age gaps a little bit more because, one of the things is that the age gaps become wider as you get older. Just if we go back
True.
to high school,
It does.
A senior going out with a freshman is unheard of. And
Is it?
now
you said they get wider as we get older, or they close the gap. The
they
gap's
get
closed.
wider. No, they close.
Yes,
They close.
correct.
Because no, they get
get wider.
They get
Yeah,
wider
I'm like,
As we
how
get
does it
older?
as we get
Yeah.
older. Because
More people are legal.
if
And they're still alive.
if I were in my 50s, I could
But that's
certainly.
not a gap.
If I were in my 50s,
Yeah.
if I were in my 50s, or if I was 50 even, I could date a young lady that was 40. If I'm 60, which I am, I could date somebody that's 50.
Or 30.
Or 30.
Or 20.
No,
You
it's a cutoff.
For you, it's a cutoff.
Yes.
For everyone, it's not. We're not talking about just for you.
Okay.
Again, you are just the species tonight.
Okay.
So
On behalf of
we're
me
not
and
talking about
everyone.
your double standards. We're talking about all the double standards, all the things.
But for me, that gap is simple to understand for me. Because if I'm looking at a gap, do we go to the same place to party if we are partying? Because if you're hanging out at, somebody's club, that
What's
lets me
going
know
on
you
with
too. That lets me know that you're too young.
Add effects.
Can you close that
Hard.
out?
Let me just close that out.
I imagine it's still
There we
taping.
go. But are we going to the same clubs? I mean, if you're hanging out at the hot and trendy spot, you're probably too young for me. That is a dead giveaway for me.
I get you probably,
Or if her shoes light up.
but that's you. I need for you to like think outside your box.
Okay.
Because everybody is not thinking clearly, levelly, like you
Okay.
tonight.
But I think in the case of men and in the case of women, I mean, we get to a point, especially in a place like Chicago. As big as Chicago is, this is a small place. Mm-hmm. So at some point, people figure out, man, I want to fish in a bigger pond. So you widen the area that you're covering. So if your cutoff was at 40, it slides back to 30, or it can slide back to 30 because it's a numbers game at the end of the day, and we pretty much know most of the people our age.
So I swear I told him not to think like Gary and to think like somebody else. We back on Gary. And I get it because you probably can't process it outside of that. But initially, if you weren't Gary or if you're just hanging out with some of your friends who don't think exactly like you do, they may see a girl who is all bodied up, smelling good, looking good, and they like, ooh wee, you grow, right? And that's what they're thinking. They aren't thinking like, oh, what are we gonna have in common? Where do you party at? What books do you read? That's not why they're attracted to them. Men are visually stimulated, and they were stimulated. So that conversation, what you're talking about, what happened when you're really trying to get to know somebody. But if you out for the night and you see something and it's legal and it's real young, and that's what you're on, that's what you're on. And I don't agree with it, but I'm just saying that it's still, from my perspective, okay for a man to be predatory and grab him, a little young willing.
Participant.
Yes, and she's the showpiece. You know, you may have to deal with us or people like us that may look at you cross-eyed like, what are you
Judging.
doing?
Right.
Absolutely judging, because I'm going to judge. I'm judging. What are you doing with this little girl who could be my kid or younger than my children? You know what I
Right.
mean? So to me, it's a no-go. But there are a lot of men that are doing this.
There are.
And
There are a
we
lot.
have seen one in the media. Every time you click on any page, it's
Yeah,
another.
I'm actually kind of burnt out on
Yeah,
seeing it.
but it's happening. He's not a lone wolf. You know,
He is not.
that's not the first rodeo. This has been going on for a very long time, and he's just been called out on it. So I just kind of want that perspective of the man, and maybe you can't give it, but I'm sure you may know somebody or something.
And it makes you wonder, like, why? Why are you targeting? Are you not you specifically?
The
Right.
species.
But again, right? Why do you even target women who are significantly younger, or do you target? Does it? Are you putting yourself in a situation where you're just happen to meet a woman who's 20 to 30 years younger all the time? Are you hanging out, like you said, at the young places? Are
Or
you?
maybe she pursued you. Like if you were somebody who was.
But you can't. In order for you to date someone, both parties have to be willing participants. So
True.
why would you accept? Like, as a lot of young men will come on to me. A lot of young men and white men. Those are the people that feel comfortable, being in my space. Not men that are my age or black. So, so for a young man to date me, I have to say yes, correct? So why would a man who is my age constantly be with a woman who's significantly younger? And why would a woman who is my age, why would she be interested in dating all the time somebody who's 20 to 30 years younger? And I'm not talking about the celebrities necessarily. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the ones that we named earlier. I'm just in general, because this is not uncommon, actually.
As I speak for the species, older women or more mature women or whatever we want to term them as, they have more demands. They expect more out of you. You can tell a young woman in a lot of cases just about anything. And a lot of that stuff can fly because they're not going to call you on it. They probably are not there for your mind.
They probably
Right.
don't care about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So-
They're there for your wallet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a situation where as an older man, you might not have enough game in some cases. If I'm speaking for the species, you might not have enough game to really bring it like that to an older woman. An older woman knows things, she's seeing things. So you can't really, you can't give her the runaround and think
Right.
that that's, no, let's go back to the beginning. This is what I said. This is what I want. This is what I want to know. So it's just, younger women are going to be far less demanding.
So if your stuff isn't together, right?
If your Mac is not together, especially.
Or maybe your funds ain't right, and you really can't date a woman. I'm just saying.
You
So
gotta pay to play though. You can't be an older guy, and your money ain't right. And
That's true.
You trying to run around like that
That's
because
true.
it's just. I mean, their expectations are different altogether.
That's true.
They want the first date to be, man, we going.
this is the younger person or the older person?
The younger person is we going to RL, we going to STK, we going to someplace with initials. We not
The
going.
older person has to have the money, is what he's saying, because that's the person in control.
Yeah, but there are levels to this. So
Ain't
let me tell you why I said there's
young
levels to
woman
this.
out here trying to feel no. I'm an old dude. I ain't getting no young action from somebody that don't want money.
Maybe it's not maybe she's not on the A list. of the youngins. You know, maybe she's a
I'm
D.
telling you,
But the fact
And
her
she's-
age still commands, and you're gonna pay.
Everybody's not getting. It depends. Everybody's not getting the same treatment. You know that, and I know that.
I guarantee you though, ain't no young women coming for me like that. They're not stepping to me like that unless it's about money or unless it's about I can provide something.
Something. It doesn't necessarily mean everything, but something that they need.
It's like 98% money.
Okay. It might be. It might be. I need a place to live. You got an apartment. You got a building. That don't mean
But then that's a form of currency. But I mean,
you running a roll on them all the time. You just provided them
it's transactional.
It is. I agree.
And in it being transactional,
I'm not disagreeing with it being
Right.
transactional. I'm just saying that there are levels and grades to this.
Okay.
When I said if your money ain't right for somebody my age, right? Because we have different expectations, and you like, no, you got to have a bankroll for the youngins too, because this is what they want. And I'm saying that there are levels to that. It may not be I need for you to get my hair done. It may be I need me and my whatever cat to have a place to live. You have an apartment? Yes, I'll pay for that.
You said,
It's
oh, these days
transactional.
about your age.
Even in getting the hair
No.
done. My frame of reference on that is here's $100, so you got money to tip. They talking about $400 and $500 weaves or sew-ins or braids or whatever. It's more expensive to even do that. A older woman is like, man, I'm natural. Man, I done did this. It's still $100 in some form or fashion. A younger woman, man, I'm telling you, it starts at like $300 to $400 to get the hair done.
So let me tell you where I got this from.
Okay.
When we had our in person at Naughty Lux and we did Dating Outside Your Decade, right? It was a young lady that I'm not gonna say who she is, but it was someone who worked there, and she explained to me after our event. She said, "I'm gonna just tell you the game.